Alright guys, today I'm going to be walking you through how I created this print then cut using my Cameo 4, and I'm going to be using my Inkjet and Sublimation Vinyl. This is for dark and light garments, so this is not like the regular fabric transfer paper, but this is actual vinyl that I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using a design from Creative Fabrica. So without further ado, let's get started.
Hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Please ensure to like, share, and subscribe. And also click the bell notification in the top right-hand corner to be made aware anytime I upload tutorials or videos to YouTube. All right, let's craft together. Alright guys, so I'm going to walk you through what I did to do my print and cut of the lip design that I showed you. So I'm in Silhouette Studio, this is 5, and on the right hand side I'm going to click on design, and I'm going to go to my page set up here on the right hand side, the very first little icon. I'm going to go there to show you what settings I have. So I have mine on Auto Cameo 4. I have the Cameo 4. This is where you'll select your machine. I'm doing an auto manual feed, so I'm automatically feeding the mat into the Cameo 4. And I'm using the cutting mat, which is the Cameo cutting mat. And then my media size is A4. But if you're using a different size, you want to just select what size you're using here. And then you can see my custom width and everything based on the media size. Okay, so that's my page set up, and I have it in landscape. And I put it in landscape because the lips, I'm gonna have them going the long way. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, we're now going to come down to print, then print and cut icon here on the right hand side, right before show more, and we're going to enable our registration marks, and that way you'll know where you need to stay inside the area you need to stay inside of for Cameo, your Cameo to cut out all of your image for you. And these are your sensors or your registration marks if you're familiar with Cricut Design Space. These are your registration marks here. And so before your Cameo will cut, it's going to look for these markings. And if they're not there, it's not going to cut your image out after you print it. Okay. Now you can enable the print bleed. That just places more ink just to make sure you get you don't have any white lines showing on your image. I'm not going to do that with this. Excuse me. And so now that we have that out of the way, I'm going to bring my image in. So I'm going to go here to the top left and click on the menu file, and I'm going to select merge, and this is my image here. I bring that in, and it comes in super large. So I just click on the image. You can go here and type it in manually, but I just drag it down. Just drag it. Now I would love to be able to um, make it larger than this, but the size that I'm about to show you guys, that can't. So I've had my Silhouette Cameo now for over a year, and this is my first time doing print and cut on it. So just bear with me. And I said my first time, it's actually my second because I cut the image that I showed you guys. All right, so I'm just going to drag this in. You want to make sure that your cut is not touching these little X's, like little X's here. And you want to make sure that everything is inside of your cut area. All right, so we're going to go about there. I think that looks good. All right, so now that we have that, what we want to do is we want to trace this and make sure that we have a good cut, okay? So we're going to come over to our trace panel, which is here on the right. We're going to select that, and then we're going to click select trace area. And then we're just going to click and drag to cover our entire image. And then we're going to say trace outer edge. Now it traces the outer edge for us, and you can move this over just to see if it got a really good cut. So right now you can see that it has this area right here that it would attempt to cut, and then it has a little funky cut right here, okay? So I'm just going to click on the undo, put that back in there. And what I'm going to do with my image selected, I'm going to go in and I am going, let me go back to select this area again. All right, I'm going to increase my threshold here. All right, and what I'm doing is I want the yellow here to cover up all these little areas that it's showing that it would cut inside of, or where I would have that little bit of funkiness there. So I'm going to move this threshold over, and you're going to see that it's going to cover up all of that yellow, and we're going to take it as far right as possible. Okay, and so now we have a better trace. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this over and to get rid of this one because I traced it twice, guys. That's why it did that. And then we're just going to bring this back over. So you don't have to trace it twice. I highly recommend always, always, always watch the video through till to the end so you can see exactly what to do, and then, you know, then try it. All right, so I'm just getting that right back inside of the cut area. All right, so that looks pretty good. So what we're going to do now is we're going to send this to our printer, okay? So in order to, and once you send this to the printer and everything, guys, you cannot move, you don't want to move anything because you have now told Cameo, once you print it, you've told Cameo where your cuts and everything are or should be. So, you want to make sure everything is still inside of that red registration area, okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to send this to the printer. Now, this particular Inkjet Sublimation Vinyl that I'm using for dark and light garments, it's not a mirror design. So we're not going to mirror the image, okay? So we're going to go to File, and we're going to come down to Print, and we're going to click on the Print button here. And you can see everything is in there like it should be. I'm going to be using my inkjet printer today. So I'm going to click on Preferences, and I have it in the landscape position. I'm going to click on paper quality, and I'm going to change this to main tray, best, advanced, and I'm going to change this from letter to A4, which is the size paper that I'm using or vinyl that I'm using. And everything else I'm going to leave the same. I'm going to hit OK. And then I'm going to hit print. I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to hit print. But before I hit print, I'm going to end it here with you guys, but I'm going to show you how I load my paper and then I'll hit print. So I'll see you at my printer.
All right, guys, so again, I'm using the Inkjet and Sublimation Vinyl, and I get this at a local shop here in Dallas, Texas, and I absolutely love it. I have it also in a 11 by 17. It has one side of it is kind of like a ridgy feel to it, textured, and then the other side is smooth, and you're going to actually be printing to the rigid or to the side that feel like it has a texture to it. So the smooth side will be up. So we're going to go ahead and place this in my inkjet printer. Close that up, and now I'm going to go ahead and hit print. And we'll get this party started out with it printing out. And then once we get this printed out, we'll use our Cameo to actually cut the design out for us. So that'll be the next part. So this is the print portion. Next, we're going to go through how to use Silhouette Cameo and 4 and Silhouette Studio 5 to do the cut for us. All right, so here is our design printed out really nicely. You see your sensor or your registration marks. All of that must be intact. Okay, so you want to make sure you allow this to dry. So I mean, I can touch it, but it does recommend that you allow the ink to dry. Now if you print on the wrong side, if you're using this and you print on the wrong side, it's going to be, the ink is going to be smeared because it doesn't have any texture to hold it. So you want to make sure you are printing on the textured side. Okay, so now we're going to go back into Silhouette Silhouette 5, and we're going to now cut this.
Okay, now that I have cut that out, I'm just going to hit cancel. And we're now ready to go in and cut our design. Okay, so to do that, we're going to click on in the top right corner, we're going to click on Send, and we're going to, you can see here that everything is inside. Okay, so that's why I say you don't move anything. And click on Standard. All right, and so I have mine on heat transfer printable dark fabric, even though that's not what I'm using. And I have it on cut, auto blade. I have my force on 8, 1 pass, speed of 3, and I'm going to move my blade depth over to 3 because that seemed to work better for me. And I will tell you guys, if you've never heard the Cameo 4 cut before, it is a very loud machine. Now, what I'm told by some people that have the Cameo 5 is that it's not as loud. I think that may be why I have had my Cameo 4 for over a year now, and it's just been sitting on my right side. Every time I do my videos and everything like that, my Cameo is sitting right here on my right hand side. But I'm so familiar with Cricut, so I've been using my Cricut all that time, and my Cricut is not noisy like the Cameo, so that was an immediate turn off for me when I first used it a year ago. So that was one of my New Year's resolutions, was to start using my Cameo 4 and doing video tutorials. So here we are. Okay, so now we're going to click on Send, and when we click on Send, it's going to tell us to go ahead and place our mat on the into the Cameo. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and place my mat into the Cameo, And then once I place my mat into the Cameo, I'm going to show you the visuals of what I'm doing, okay? So I'll see you at the Cameo machine.
All right, guys, here I am at my Cameo, and I am going to go ahead and get my mat ready. Now, you would think the way this mat look that I have been using this thing and using it, but I have not. This is probably the first couple of cuts. So I'm going to lay this down, and you want to try to get it on there as straight as possible. Line it up. And that's why I said you want to make sure your ink is dry before you do this part, because you want to make sure that you don't smear your ink. I'm gonna turn it this way so I can line it up, because I'm not kind of off a little bit. All right, so we're gonna make sure that it's on there really nicely. And so when Cameo gets ready to cut, it's gonna look for these sensor marks, okay? It's gonna look for the sensors, and if it doesn't see it, it's not going to cut. We have our blade in carrier 1, okay? So we're gonna take and we're going to make sure that your mat is in between where the first double arrows are and that last arrow, okay? The last arrow here on the far right. Now this looks like the left to you because of my camera, but trust me, I do know my left from my right, okay? So let me make sure that's good and sticky. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna place this in, and we're gonna hit this button here to load our mat. All right, now that we have that loaded, we're gonna click send on my computer. And y'all see how loud it is? So it's looking for those sensors. Now that it found them, it's gonna start cutting. So it's done. And I'm just gonna feel and make sure I can feel my cuts. And one of the things I like about this, I'm gonna go ahead and press the release here to release my mat. One of the things I like about the Cameo is that if I take this off the machine and it didn't cut properly, I can just put this back in, okay? And you know, it'll go from there. So I have my little Cricut weeding tool here. And what I'm doing is I'm going to weed away the part that I don't need, okay? So I'm going to lift up here. And I'm just going to pull that off, okay? Because this is vinyl. It's not paper. Y'all see how that cut really nicely? All right. And I missed the trash can. All right, so there we have it. It cut. So now I'm going to take my other Cricut tool, and let me bring this down so y'all can see. I'm going to take my other Cricut tool, and all I'm doing is just lifting up on the vinyl and pulling that up.
And you don't have to be afraid to tear this because it's plastic. It's vinyl. Okay, so it's not paper, but depending on what type of material you're using, you may have to be, careful when you get to this part, especially if you're using something different than what I'm using. I'm just going to take it off. Just like that. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up that carrier sheet and I'm going to place this down on my carrier sheet. Got too many things going on. Move that mat out of my way. But I'm going to take this and I'm going to turn it over on that side. Just like that. And you got a little white right there. That's okay. We'd rather it cut that off than us have it be a part of our thing here. Just move that out of the way. And now I can take this to the heat press and press this onto my garment. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to walk through the full process of doing the heat transfer. So we're going to go ahead and iron this on now. All right, I'll meet you at the press. All right, guys, we're going to get ready to press our image onto our t-shirt. We're going to be pressing at 310 degrees for 10 seconds. So I'm just going to do a quick pre-press for about 5 seconds. And we're going to come down about 3 fingers. Since we have a rounded neck, we're going to come down about 3 fingers from there. And there's one little piece of black right there on the top of the lip that I don't like, that I'm going to cut. Y'all, give me 1 second. It's just to stand up there. All right, that's better. All right, like I said, come down about 3 fingers from the neck area. And that same carrier sheet that we took it off of, we're going to place that carrier sheet on top. Make sure you don't have any vinyl on there, because wherever there is vinyl, it is going to be on your shirt. So this is the sheet that was on the back of here. All right, and we're going to go ahead and press for 10 seconds. Alrighty, and just like that, we are done. And I'm gonna put it up where you can see it. Give me 1 second, y'all. All right, guys, there's the finished product. Uh-oh. I was trying to hold it up for y'all. Hold on. All right, guys. I think that's a little bit better. I got to be careful because it may fall from here too. But there it is, guys. Inkjet Sublimation Vinyl. You can do this process with this particular vinyl. You can use an inkjet printer, or you can use a inkjet printer that you converted over to sublimation. But look at those colors. And this was with the inkjet printer. All right. All right, guys, if there was anything unclear about the process, please chime in the comments and I will help you as best I can. And Cricut Maker, I don't know. You might be getting some dust. All right, guys, that's it. You guys know my motto is each one reach one so that each one can teach one. And you guys have an amazing day. Bye.